Hey everyone, welcome to the Let's Get Loud podcast. This is a solo podcast episode with A. Meant to plug in my phone while I was doing this podcast so I could get some more juice. Was something about me using my phone. Okay, hello everyone. It feels like forever since I've spoken to you, but like I must have done a podcast last Friday. How is everyone? I am loving the back to school routine. Listen, I loved Christmas or, vacation, 2 weeks off with the kids. The slower mornings were everything. But love me a good routine. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I'm extra awesome this year. Not to be cliche, but like 2025 is my year. But I really, and maybe you're like, how did you get to this point, Alicia? Well, so many things. But for sure, really tuning into things at the end of 2024 and getting things kind of in order. So I was like ready to rock and roll. And if that's not you, if you're not feeling that same way, it doesn't mean it's over. Okay. It just means we're at a different place. So I'm all this to say I'm feeling really good and I'm really enjoying the kids in school. I said to Neil, I was like, wow, I got a lot of work done today. And then I'm like, I guess that's what it's like when you sit at home at your desk and there's not people that are like, Mom, 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 Dad, where's Mom? So I've been really enjoying that. And I've actually also started waking up early again. I used to do that. I did that for years. That was actually a tool that I used at the very beginning of my weight loss journey because I didn't have as much flexibility with my time back then. I was working full time as a teacher and I had two 1 year olds and a 3 year old. Wow. And so I thought like if I get up early and I used to work out for years, like years. I got up at 4:45 to work out. Mostly when I was still working full time. Or still working outside of the home. So that was anyways, wow. And then a couple years ago, I also got back into it, but I wasn't working out in the morning. I was working in the morning. And I'm just easing myself back in, which is such a great kind of message for you guys if you're trying to get into any sort of routine. I did this with the gym. I didn't go like really intense. I'm like, okay, step one, go to the gym and sign up. Step two, go to the gym and do anything, like whatever you feel most comfortable with, just go. I went and walked on the treadmill. And then it was like, okay, thing number three, go and like lift one weight. And then, or not even lift a weight. I like did one squat without weights. And then step two is like, do squats with weights, do the scary machine that teenage boys use. And I really just progressively went through it. And I'm doing the same thing with waking up. So I'm waking up at 6, which is only 40 minutes before my family wakes up. Well, really, the girls don't really need me as much. They're so cute. I got them an Alexa for Christmas and all the kids, and it's really given them kind of like independence in a sense. Like I'll hear them in their rooms and they're like, Alexa, play, blah, 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 blah. It's allowing them to like explore music genres. They use guided meditation at night to help them sleep. But the girls are setting their own alarms. They're like, and I like to let them sleep in, but sometimes they want to wake up a little early. Piper wants to wake up early to make her bed. Phoebe wants to make up early to do her hair. And I'm like, okay, girls, go for it. So I hear their alarms go off at 6:40, but I don't really go upstairs to say good morning until like 7 and I wake up Alfie. Wow. All this to say I get an hour in. But here's how I'm like easing myself into it. I'm not like, okay, get up and do work. It's like get up and do fun work and just get up. Like, just get up, go downstairs, and create that habit. And I love it. I really enjoy starting my day with quiet and starting my day with kind of like just ticking things off my list, little tiny things that feel easy for me, a task that feels easy. And then I'll build on that. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll wake up at 5 to get 2 hours in. Maybe I won't. I'm not sure yet, but I'm really enjoying that extra little time. And I feel like it's making me feel like not like, "Ugh," it's giving me a little bit more space to breathe. Because there's a lot of things on the to-do list every single day. If you guys are feeling that too, maybe consider getting up before your family, but you do you. It is your way. Okay, that is not what I came here to talk to you about. I wanted you to talk to you about my current framework. So, where's Alicia at? I mean, 2024 was all about figuring out what my 40-year-old body kind of needed, was looking for, addressing my joint pain, uh, making choices that would increase my level of energy. Super happy to report too that I have been feeling so good lately physically. I'm not struggling with like my whole like neck trauma as much anymore. Like my hips, my hips, my elbows, my shoulders were hurting. No joint pain as of right now. And I feel like I have more energy. That was the one thing. It always comes back to that to me. That is massive for me. And if you guys ever are able to be mindful enough or aware enough to realize what is your thing? What is your like absolutely not moment? We all have a different one. And I remember mine literally 10 years ago when I joined Your Way Weight Loss. I was tired and I was like, absolutely not. And do you know what? Actually, it was two things. I was getting dressed one day and I was getting dressed for an event and I tried on 3,000 things and I was sweating and I was swearing and I'll never forget. I can literally picture it right now. It was in our old house and Neil was like, "You look fine." And I was like, "I do not look fine." And I turned into a monster. And I ended up wearing something that wasn't like appropriate for where we were going. Not inappropriate in the sense that like I had a lot of cleavage. Inappropriate in the sense that it was like a fun girls' weekend and I was wearing like what I would wear to work because it was like the one thing I could feel comfortable in. And I had like one pair of black pants that I felt comfortable in. It wasn't fun. And I didn't want to live that way. And so I always go back to that. And that a lot of that was happening in 2024, not to that extent that it was back then, but just really like not fully loving getting dressed and also the energy. I was like, wow, is this just it? Like, is this just life? I am a person that I want to go from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And I want to feel well enough and have enough energy to do all the things because I love doing things. And so that's really what 2024 was about for me. And then the next step in my journey for 2025 really felt like strength because a big part of my why is aging independently and increasing your muscle tone is so important when it comes to that, especially as we get into our 40s. So when you hit 30, your muscle starts to deplete unless you're actively doing something to counterbalance that. And the rate in which it's depleting increases as you turn 40. So it's like the flick gets switched and it's like, okay, everyone, let's make this happen. So I've been loving that. So a big part of that is gaining muscle, gaining strength, is eating protein, eating more protein. Okay. And it's only been a week since I've been like back to, I don't want to say normal, back to non-holiday mode. Okay. And I've been journaling every day. This is my journal. If you're watching on YouTube, I love her. She's has one page for every day. And I sit every morning after the kids go to bed, kids go to both school. I sit and write in my journal and I've been really enjoying it. Now, I don't want to make this moment about the numbers on the scale. Okay. But I do want to give you some context. And I was seeing this trend before the holidays, but obviously I didn't get enough time to like really see the trend because then the holidays and I didn't go off plan. I wasn't off track. I was just living my holiday life. So since basically when I am since the first, I'm down 4 pounds. And I wasn't crazy over the holidays. Like I didn't go crazy, I didn't gain a bunch of weight. So I'm down 4 pounds. And that feels really good. But not just that I'm down 4 pounds. That's not the part that feels really good. It feels really good because my framework is working. And I spent so much of 2024 trying to find my way, trying to find my new way, my 40-year-old way, trying to find my framework and not having it work was very frustrating to me. And so just not carrying around that like, oh, I can't figure this out is so exciting. Okay. But the other piece is it feels easy. And it feels easy because it's authentic. And I must say, I significantly notice my hunger is very minimal because of the amount of protein and nutrient dense options I'm putting in my body. Like I'm really getting volume because like my dessert is like a cup of fruit instead of like a little chocolate bar, which is like the same amount of calories. So I'm really seeing the effects and the impact of all the hard work that I've been putting in into like just tweaking little habits, right? Like changing from chocolate to fruit, eating more nutrient dense options, and all of that. So I'm really feeling the effects of that. So on the internet this week, I was putting things in Tupperware and I was portioning it on my scale. And that kind of piqued some interest. And I kind of wanted to share with you guys what I'm doing right now But here's the most important point. Here's what I want to inspire you. I want to inspire you today to find your own framework. I want to inspire you to keep going, keep adjusting, keep staying connected until you also start to see results in a way that feels easy. And that will happen. You just have to stick with it. And it will require adjusting and readjusting. So I hope that today's podcast episode inspires you to find your own framework, not to follow my framework. Got it? Because there's no magic in my framework. This program is still and will always be your way. It will also always be not counting calories. Okay, which I know is like, oh, you're like, why are you measuring on a scale if you're not counting calories? It helps with portion awareness. All right, just get into it, Alicia. So here's my current framework. I am eating 4 to 5 times a day. Okay. And once I'm done sharing my framework, I'm going to give you guys advice on how to find your own. Okay. Also, I want to pause to say this piece of your journey, when you're figuring out your framework, this doesn't include all of the mental work that you potentially might have to do to unpack your relationship with food, which is huge. It's all a part of the puzzle. And for someone that's listening to this who's maybe never struggled with a relationship with food, just see food as food, never struggled with binge eating, never struggled with over restricting, food doesn't take up a lot of noise in their brain. This advice alone might be enough for them to go off and conquer the world. A lot of this right here would work for men because they don't have the baggage that we do around food and our bodies and our weight. They don't have that same like worth connected to their weight. So there's the framework piece, which don't get me wrong, very important, big part of this. But let's not also forget the mindset work, the unknowing that you're going to have to do, the baggage you're going to have to unpack from the diet industry, and a CEO badass mindset. I need to tell you guys, the one thing that you need to be successful in this world is taking ownership of your choices. No one is coming to save you. You want to make change in your life? You are in charge of the change, not your husband, not your kids, not your boss, you. A good CEO is taking note of what's happening. And there are problems and there are situations in the company that the CEO can't fully change, can't fully control. But a good CEO looks at a problem and says, okay, what can I do? What resources do I have? What am I willing to do to focus on this problem and make the most of what they do have? And when I talk about ownership of choices, really want to explain myself to you guys. I don't mean always make the right choice for your goal. I mean own the choices that you make. So when I choose to not follow my framework, I don't say I had a bad day, so I drank wine for dinner. I say I'm choosing wine for dinner. When I choose to not follow my framework and I go through the McDonald's drive-through, I don't say I was so busy, so many kids' activities. I was so busy. I say I chose to drive through the drive-through. When I choose to not follow my framework and not get off the couch and go for a walk, I say I'm choosing to not walk today. So the ownership, people get mixed up sometimes when I say CEO mindset, ownership of your choices. They think that means always make the right choice. It's not what I mean. I want you to own all of your choices and not just the ones that don't align with your goals. I want you to own all of them. Celebrate every single small win. That very first time that you get off your couch and go for a walk, the first time that you don't order a Big Mac meal with X supersize with nuggets on the side and you get yourself a Happy Meal, I want you to pause and be like, I'm owning that. I did that. I created that. So important that you celebrate those small wins. That is going to create confidence and momentum and motivation within yourself. You are creating that. And that is very powerful because the only thing that you are fully in charge of in this world is you. Okay. All right. So that's a little mindset pep talk because I don't want people to get distracted by the science, the math, the Tupperwares, the going to the gym. I really want people to take a step back and remember that we still need to really have a certain mindset in order to work on this. Okay, so my current framework is, let's talk about food. Let's talk about movement. All right. We can talk about other as well. Whew, we are just talking about all the things. This is gonna be a long one. I'm gonna just like get out my little journal here so I can like really see what's happening. Okay, so food. Thing number one, I love my coffee. I drink 3 cups of massive, like when I say cup, it's like the size of my face cup. I drink 3 of those a day. And coffee creamer, the creamer that I like, is 25 calories per tablespoon, which is not a big deal. But when you drink 3 of those bad boys, and if I'm not measuring, I can easily add close to 100 calories worth of creamer. So just creating that calorie awareness, just not setting a goal to count, to track everything, to aim for a certain number, just setting a goal to increase my calorie awareness. So I said, do I really want to spend 300 calories on creamer? I could, and I could adjust my day and still create a calorie deficit, no problem. But I thought, I really don't. I also could have said, maybe you have 1 coffee instead of 3, and I didn't want to do that either. Maybe you could have a different creamer, didn't want to do that either. So it's all about creating situations where you can make different choices. So a big part of my framework, which might sound ridiculous, is measuring my creamer. And I have 6 tablespoons of creamer a day. Okay. So that's one piece. And then I eat 4 to 5 times a day. And what I do is I eat about the same amount, 3 to 500 calories each time. So what I did is I sat down and said to myself, okay, why don't you create some ideas? Also, ChatGPT could help you with this. And said like, give me 10 ideas of of meals with 20 to 30 grams of protein, fruits and or veggies in every meal, carbs in every meal that are 300 to 500 calories. Boom. I didn't do that, but you could. Okay. Because I know, and why am I eating? There's no magic in me eating 4 to 5 times a day. I like that. I like having smaller meals, smaller portions more frequently. I don't like having snacks as much because it's like a tease. It just doesn't work for me. So over the years of me trying things, adjusting, it also works well because of my lifestyle. I work from home. So I can just stop, make something if I really wanted to, microwave it. I can do that. Okay. And so I basically have 4 to 5 meals a day. One is always a Mama Tea cookie, which is a protein cookie. One is always a protein shake. That is easy for me. That helps me increase my protein. And then I have 2 to 3 other meals. I love a yogurt parfait. I love, and then the yogurt parfait is probably the only, everything else, I keep it super simple. It's like a protein, a starch, and veggies. As simple as that. So like rice, I use a lot. Noodles, I use a lot. Sweet potatoes, I really enjoy. Focusing on leaner protein. So like chicken, turkey, extra lean ground beef, fish, eggs, egg whites, and then veggies, any veggie that I like. And I just assemble. It is actually so simple with some sort of sauce. Okay. So that's like my way right now. I always leave room to have one of my meals with my family because I absolutely can eat the same thing as my family while creating weight loss. I do not have to do anything different. I must say though, what I have been doing lately that I wasn't always that good at is really taking that extra 3 seconds to just measure my portion at supper time. I was often measuring my portion at lunch, at breakfast, because it was just easier. But I found at supper time, maybe I would like take an extra little bite and just like eyeball it. But I'm just pausing to take, everyone gets their own meals. And then I just get on my scale discreetly. I'm not like, people said to me, are you worried about your kids seeing you measure your thing? It's like, no, like my kid sees me measuring when I'm cooking chocolate chip cookies. If I don't make it a big thing, it's not a big thing. So I'm not like, oh, mommy can only eat this, or like mommy needs to measure because she's losing weight. I literally get up the scale, put my stuff in it, and we move on with our life. It's not a thing because I don't make it a thing. Okay. And so I just like get up my food scale. I usually do 3 to 4 ounces of meat, depends on how hungry I am at that moment, what I ate the rest of the day. I usually do about 100 grams of carbs, and then I do not measure my vegetables. Okay. But I'm also leaving room to listen to my body. Let's say I made that portion. I am still starving. I can have more, or I can have something else later, or I can have a big portion of fruit. Like it's not just because I have a framework doesn't mean I'm only eating from a container. It just means I've created a system where this is like the ideal framework. Okay. And then it's just like, okay, follow it or not. You choose and focus on consistency and not perfection. So find yourself in this. How often do you like to eat? Do you like a bunch of small meals? Do you like 3 big meals? Do you like 2 big meals? Do you want to eat at night? Do you want to have a nighttime snack? I don't need to have a nighttime snack. That's not important to me. That's an easy one to just not be a part of. Easy peasy. So I don't eat at night, but that's part of my framework because that feels easy to me. So really ask yourself these questions, okay? So I wanted to share that with you guys. So that's like my food framework, focusing on high protein, focusing on lots of nutrients through fruits and vegetables, as simple as that. Getting 15K steps a day, which is not hard for me. I pretty much naturally get that. I don't have to like try too much more ahead of that. Taking my vitamins, drinking 3 things of water a day, and not taking extra bites. So like just a little scrappy bite here, a little scrappy bite there. So right now, that is my current framework that is working. Okay. Now, how can you create your own framework? Start with like a Monday. Close your eyes and think, what would the perfect Monday look like for me? When would I move my body? How would I move my body? What would I eat? When would I eat? Like, and when I say perfect, what I mean is a day that you feel would unlock, would get you closer to your goals, get you the results that you're looking for. If you were like, okay, if I am going to plan this perfect day, and if I was consistent with that, I know I would get results. That's the perfect day. But pause, you also feel content. You feel happy. It's easy to plan the perfect day for maximum results. That's not what we're here for. We are here as human beings. We have needs, we have desires. We are on this planet for bigger purposes than just existing our life in smaller bodies. Okay. Now, weight loss, absolutely. You deserve to choose to want to live your life in a smaller body if that's what you want. So that's what I'm going to support you in, but I'm going to still remind you to remind yourself that you are a human. And so your perfect plan needs to feel like, oh, I could do that. I feel good about that. I don't think I would feel deprived. I don't think I'd be super hungry. I think I could do that. So I'd love for you guys, if you're listening somewhere where you can, pause this podcast and don't judge yourself. What would the perfect Monday look for you that would get you results and you'd be content with? Boom, there's your framework. Okay, there's your starting framework. And also think about your 3 categories when you're writing out your framework: nutrition, movement, extras. So, nutrition obviously is what you eat, movement is how you move your body. If you choose, you do not have to move your body. If it's not movement, maybe it's just steps. If you don't want to exercise, maybe it's just steps, right? And then the last one is other, and that's things like water, sleep, journaling, vitamins, all those extras. Okay. Create your little plan. And then I need you to ask yourself, how can I make this simple? How can I make this accessible? And how can I make this desirable? Because it's all well and good to have this like perfect plan, but does that perfect plan fit into your real life? So if you say to me, I am going to eat 6 times a day and I'm going to eat a different kind of protein at every single meal, I'm going to eat vegan. And I'm like, okay, awesome. How are you going to make that simple? How are you going to make that accessible? How are you going to make that desirable? Maybe making it desirable is like having fun sauce. Maybe making it desirable is like, I'm going to walk on the treadmill and you're going to watch trash TV at the same time. So really set yourself up for success by making it simple and accessible. Our brains will always choose convenience. So if you can make something that's a part of your framework convenient, amazing, which is what I do. I always have things cooked in my fridge. Sometimes it's assembled into a container already pre-portioned. Sometimes it's just meat and a protein, and I throw it all together, but make it accessible. Okay. So that's how to create your framework. You got it? You ask yourself those questions. The next thing is consistency. So I need to remind you that your goal with this framework is to be consistent. And that when, for example, yesterday, my friend randomly gave me delicious smoked meat that her husband had made on the smoker. And instead of having a portion that I had already planned, I was like, hello, I'll eat this. No idea how many calories are in it. Okay. I just enjoyed it. I just lived. I existed. But there's other times where there's organic opportunities that come up and I choose my container because it doesn't feel as worth it to me. So leave room in your framework to live. Leave room in your framework to be you. Okay. And remind yourself, I'm not here to be perfect. I don't need to be perfect. Perfection is not a prerequisite to results. Consistency is. So once you've decided on your framework and you figured out a way to make it easy, accessible, simple, desirable, then you say, okay, I'm just going to focus on consistency. I'd love for you to be consistent for 2 weeks with your framework, but then you're going to need to check in. You're going to need to check in and say, how's my framework going? Am I following it? AKA, am I being consistent? If the answer is yes, amazing. If the answer is no, why? Is there stuff on there you don't like? Did you try to change too much too soon? Have you not stayed connected to it? And then are you getting the results that you're looking for? So if you're on a journey for weight loss and after 2 weeks, the trend in the scale is not going down at all, we need to tweak. We need to make adjustments if you want. Okay, so then that's the next part, adjust. And then what do? You repeat the process. And then what do? Not give up. So you get to the end of your 2 weeks. You've been consistent or not with your framework. You've checked in with yourself. Then you adjust. And we start the 2 week cycle again. You're like, okay, from what I learned, I'm going to tweak this, this, and this. Now I'm focusing on consistent. Now I'm going to check in. Am I content? Am I getting the results? Okay, now I need to adjust, repeat, never give up. You guys want to know what the secret is to actually getting weight loss? To actually achieving anything? Not giving up. Literally the secret. Don't give up. This time, don't give up. When it gets hard, when you're struggling to follow your framework, when it gets hard, when the scale's not going down, instead of giving up, you adjust. You stay connected, you stay authentic, and the results will follow. It's literally magic. So I have really had clarity lately with my own personal framework, but at the same time wanting to share it with you guys because I'm always committed to sharing things with you, but also leaving space that like if you see me measure my protein is triggering to you, then maybe that tool just isn't for you. Maybe that's just not a part of your framework. Maybe that feels diety to you. It doesn't feel diety to me. Do you know what would feel diety to me? Me bringing my scale to my friend's house or bringing my Tupperware or bringing it to a restaurant that or avoiding a restaurant. That would feel diety to me. So I don't do those things. So reminding you that no one tool, no one action is diety. Every one of us has a perception of what is diety to us. So just avoid the things that feel diety to you. But again, the whole point of today is to inspire you to find your own framework. And I hope that you guys have taken something from this podcast episode. Listen, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, you guys know my DMs are always open. Send me a message on Instagram. That's where I like to hang out the most. It's Alicia, ALICIA_YWWL on Instagram. So just send me a DM. And then I also want to mention that we are doing At Your Way Weight Loss right now. Starting the week of January 20th, we will be doing 3 different 10-week programs. So because Your Way Weight Loss serves so many different people with so many different desires and needs, we like to have a path for each and every one of you. So I'll be covering a path that is 10 weeks to wellness. I'm really excited about it. So I get to talk about all the like sciencey, nitty gritty things. And if wellness is your main focus, that's the path you should focus on. Andre Claude is doing 10 weeks to weight loss. So if weight loss is your main focus, you would follow her. And Jose is doing building your ultimate mindset in 10 weeks. So you'd follow Jose if mindset is your main goal. So that's what we're doing at Your Way Weight Loss, and how you take part in that is just become a member. So all members have access to all 3. So you can choose between monthly, 6 month, or a year to become a Your Way Weight Loss member. And listen, I'm going to be super honest. I can't change your life in a month, but something magic can happen in 6 months. And oh man, give me a year. Give yourself a year. Give yourself a year. Wow. Wow. If you really commit. And it doesn't mean you have to take the yearly membership option, because I know not everyone has the resources to do that. But if you just take the monthly option, but tell yourself, I'm going to do this for a year. I'm going to give this a year. Amazing things can actually happen. So I will put the link in the show notes to join as a member. So like I said, the coaching sessions kick off the week of January 20th. And now is actually the perfect time to join, because you have a starter checklist to do before you actually start those courses. So you could get in, get your starter checklist done, get your feet wet, get your bearings, and be ready to rock and roll come January 20th. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Bye.